I guess we should start from the very beginning. My least favorite day of school was beep test day. Basically, the premise was run till the last kid was standing.
Start level 1.
You were forced to run from one side of the gym to the other before the beep. The beeps start off slow and then gradually get closer and closer together, and a robotic, almost eerie, monotone voice would pop up from time to time to tell us that we'd finally gotten to the next level.
Level 7.
By level 2, I was already huffing and puffing. If you didn't make it to the wall before the beep, the teacher would call out your name and you'd make the walk of shame to the benches. There was no getting out of it either, trust me, I tried. You would just have to run it at recess. And then as I got older, I used running as a form of punishment for when I ate too much, gained too much, weighed too much. So safe to say I hated it very much. But a little over a year ago, I decided to give running another chance, and now I have run over 3,000 kilometers, done 1 full marathon, 2 half marathons, and have had 3 of my toenails turn completely black. And I would say I've changed and learned quite a bit, so I guess here's a bunch of the lessons and mistakes and random running wisdom that I've gained this year. And before we get started, I just wanted to thank Klarna for sponsoring today's video. Obviously, I'm not a running coach or a doctor or a physiotherapist or a running legend. I'm a very average runner, maybe below average if we're being completely honest. And I know it seems like the whole world is running right now, but it's okay if you don't like running or don't even want to like it. Not entirely sure why you'd be watching this video, but there are like so many more ways to move your body and be part of a community. But it did take me like an entire decade not to hate it, so you never know. Fast forward to 365 days ago, I was living alone in Singapore and kind of in my era of trying new things. So I thought it was a really good idea to sign up for a half marathon. That was in 3 months, which was kind of bold of me to do because I didn't even know if I could run 1 kilometer, but it was also like the best motivator. I'd actually recommend to just book the race. Obviously if it's not in like 2 weeks, but if it makes sense for your fitness level, whether that's a 5K, 10K, 21K, because once you've spent your money and you've signed yourself up, you don't really have a choice but to train for it. Anyways, I signed up, downloaded the Nike Run Club app for their half marathon training plan, which I so recommend to any beginner. I then realized I didn't have shoes, so I went to a good running shoe store, got my gait analyzed, and honestly all the shoes felt really weird on my feet because I'd never had real running shoes before. And at the checkout I was like, wow, I'm about to pay $300 for an activity I hate. But I bought them, put them on, and went on my first run, which gave me horrible blisters because I wore ankle socks. I would definitely not say I'm super fit, but I have been working out since I was like 11, and even with 12 years of workout fitness, my first run killed me. Your first run is most likely going to suck. You don't know how to pace yourself, you don't know how to breathe, your body is confused, your lungs burn, your legs ache, and you've only run 800 meters. Some things that really helped me at first was running for a time instead of a distance. To me, 6 kilometers sounded a lot more intimidating than like 35 minutes at a comfortable pace. The second thing for me was just not caring about my pace. While training for my first half and full marathon, I never once looked at or cared about my pace. Don't get hung up on all the numbers. All that matters in the beginning is that you go out and you run. It doesn't matter for how long or how fast, but ideally not too fast because most people start way too fast. Just run. Also, the audio guided runs on the Nike app were really helpful. For the entire run, they'd remind us to breathe and slow down and say some motivational things that distracted me from the pain. Also doing out and back runs, I feel like it mentally breaks up the run, and once you're halfway, you don't really have a choice but to run back. Fast forward to now, I actually run for distance instead of time because 10K, 15K, 21K doesn't really sound that intimidating to me anymore. And I do have pace targets that I try to hit on my speed runs, and I have a marathon pace that I practice on my long runs, but all my easy runs, which are 80% of my runs, I still run those by feel. The most important thing I wish someone had told me when I was starting out was to actually run your easy runs easy, and those should be 80% of your runs. Easy runs help us recover. They help build a strong running base and improve our endurance. It gives us a chance to train the brain by mentally preparing us for the longer distances, and running our easy runs easy will help us show up fresher on our tougher speed sessions. I'd say for the first 8 months I was running way too fast, which actually was making me a slower runner. I thought in order to improve, I had to be completely exhausted and wheezing after every run. My easy run paces now are slower than the pace I was running my first run. Your runs are not there for you to prove your fitness, they are there for you to improve your fitness. Running too fast, too hard, too often is just a really good way to get injured. Easy also isn't a pace, it is a feeling. Easy pace should feel like a 3 or 4 out of 10 if 10 is all out sprinting. It's different for everyone, it's different every day. Something that really helps me run easy is listening to slower music. I use my easy runs as time to explore, listen to a podcast, or recently I've just been hopping on the treadmill and watching like 5 YouTube videos. I get comments all the time actually that say things like,
how can someone run so much but still be fat?
I mean, not everyone runs to lose weight, not everyone wants to lose weight, and losing weight is not always a good thing. A lot of people start running to lose weight, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to lose weight, but actually the opposite happened to me when I started running. When I started running, I was so much hungrier since I was now running like 30 to 70 kilometers more than I was before. I don't know exactly how much weight I've gained, but I can't fit into like any of my old jeans or pants, so I'd say a significant amount, and it actually doesn't bother me at all. I'm running further and feel stronger than I ever have. I have a great relationship with food and exercise. I have energy and my hormones are hormoning. And if this is the size my body needs to be to handle the training to run marathons, then I'm gonna let her do her thing. Being fit and healthy are not numbers. From what I've read and heard and experienced myself, weight loss and marathon training don't exactly mesh. I'm not saying it's not possible or that it won't happen, but your body is going to already be under a lot of stress, and dieting and restricting food is just gonna put it under more stress, which can also make you more susceptible to injuries. Also, your runs are just gonna feel so much harder if you're not fueling your body properly. Other changes I noticed in my body, obviously my endurance improved. I can like casually run a half marathon on the weekend faster than my first half marathon race without even really trying, which is kind of crazy. Genetically, my calves are already very, very large, but now they are even more large. My quads are also definitely more toned and muscly, and my butt is a lot smaller, but I feel like the biggest change I felt and I saw was in my brain. Mentally, I have actually never felt so strong and resilient. It is a special kind of strength to be able to keep going when every single muscle fiber in your body is begging you to give up. And running has made me believe that I really can do hard things. Like if I can run 42 kilometers, what can't I do? I've also had 3 of my toenails turn completely black, which is kind of gross, but awesome. For me, this has been one of the only times in my life where exercise actually has nothing to do at all with changing the way my body looks. It's purely about seeing and celebrating what my body is capable of doing. And running has kind of changed the way I exercise in general. Like I don't train my glutes to look bigger or my back to look more toned. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I work out to keep my bones and muscles and heart healthy, to prevent injuries, to move my body in new ways, and just to have fun, which I prefer. I also eat a lot differently now. I've always loved carbs, but it was like secondary to protein. My major food groups used to be protein, peanut butter, carbs, and now it's carbs, peanut butter, protein. I was never a pre-workout eater. I never fueled for my runs or fueled on my long runs. Didn't really think about how what I ate influenced how my body recovered after workouts. But as I started like marathon training, kind of started feeling as if I were an athlete, eating in a way that allowed me to feel my best during and after the workout. And I've literally never felt so strong and had so much energy. Don't be afraid of your hunger. Your body's using a lot more energy than it used to. You have to eat more to run more. And this food is also helping your body recover after the runs and making you less susceptible to injuries, since I am a very hungry human. I find that eating 3 to 4 larger meals throughout the day, that helps keep me feeling satisfied and prevents me from getting too hangry. For a recovery run, since it's not like too intense, beforehand I'll usually eat a banana or 2 dates with some peanut butter or dried mango. I know some people like graham crackers or Pop-Tarts or toast. Before long runs, I used to eat half a banana. Now I eat a cinnamon raisin bagel with peanut butter and jelly and a banana. I know some people like oats with maple syrup and bananas, or toast with honey and jam. You just want lots of easily digestible carbs. My favorite post-run meals, like a Greek yogurt bowl with granola and berries, some protein pancakes, or oatmeal, or like whatever my mom's making. I just try to focus on getting carbs and protein in a 3-to-1 ratio. Also, don't be afraid of carbs. I don't understand the hate around carbs. Like, our brains and bodies need carbs to function, especially runners. Like, it's the most efficient source of energy for our muscles. You should be fueling on runs longer than 90 minutes every 30 to 45 minutes, and you want to aim to get 60 to 90 grams of carbs per hour. I'm not making these numbers up. And I love this car analogy. We don't drive a car when the tank is empty and then fill it with gas after. We fill the gas up so that we can drive it. The same goes for running. Fuel before the run so we have enough gas in the tank to run. We fuel during a run so that we can have enough energy to run the next couple of kilometers. Basically, a runner's diet is not about all the foods that we should be taking out, but all of the foods and carbs that we should be adding in. Bathroom emergencies are my second biggest fear. The first is getting injured. All you can really do is kind of keep tabs on when it happens and try to backtrack and figure out why it happened, what you ate the day or hours before, maybe too much fat, maybe too much fiber, maybe you ate too close to the run, or maybe it was something you ate on the run. For example, once I went out for Indian food the night before my morning long run, and it did not end well for me, but I did learn my lesson. This is also why training your stomach to handle fuel and gradually increasing what you're eating before your runs is really important. Some people also swear by drinking coffee before a run because it helps them go to the bathroom, because honestly, if you wait until you need a toilet, you've waited too long. This also ties into nothing new on race day. Practice what you're gonna eat before, what you're gonna eat during, what you're gonna eat the day before, what you're gonna wear, all of it. Practice it. Since we're on the topic of fuel, a tip I have is to not buy all your gels at once. I made the mistake of buying a jumbo pack of goos because that's the gel that they were handing out at the marathon, and the gel I saw all the running influencers using. Turns out I absolutely hate goos. I cannot stand the texture or the artificialness. So I recommend going to a running store near you and trying a bunch of different ones. Find your favorite flavor and texture and see what works for your stomach. Here are a couple of my favorites. I also really like energy chews. I just find that once I'm running a bit faster, it's hard to chew and swallow it. I've also fueled with real food like dates and mangoes, but I kind of don't want to pack and eat 10 dates on a long run, so I find gels are just easier, but they're not cheap. For fueling though, you really just have to trial and error until you figure out what works for you. Okay, let's talk running gear. Gear cannot make you a better runner. Only running more can do that. But in my opinion, I feel like the right gear will make your runs feel better. And if your runs feel better, you'll want to keep running, which is how you become a better runner. Only thing I bought for my first half marathon were a good pair of shoes. These are them, like they are bald at the bottom. There's no traction whatsoever. If you were to only buy one thing, it has to be a good pair of running shoes. Running is very high impact, so the wrong shoes will literally mess you up. I could tell you my favorite shoes, but there really is no point since we don't have the same feet. Chances are that they're not going to be your favorites. You need to go to the store and find your feet's favorites. And then make sure to track the miles on those shoes because it can actually be bad for your joints to run on overused shoes. These shoes will lose their shock absorption and cushioning and stability over time. I track my shoes on my watch, but I'm pretty sure all the apps have that feature now. And then use your overused shoes as walking shoes. So technically, yes, you don't need anything else, but the second thing that I would spend my money on would be a good training plan. I feel like it's just the safest and smartest way to get into running or to train for a specific distance. Like if you don't know how to start, they will tell you how long, how fast, how far. Plus I feel like it's a really great way to keep yourself accountable. For my first half and full marathon, I use the Nike Run Club app. If you think you hate running, just give this app a go. Plus it's free. I definitely improved a lot as a beginner using the Nike app, but where I saw the most improvement was when I started using a more personalized training plan that was actually tailored to me and my goals. So now I use Runna just like the rest of social media does, but truthfully I would rather cancel my Netflix subscription than my Runna subscription. I would be lost without it. I'll link both in the description for you guys, and if you wanted to try Runna for free, you can use my code Linda and I'll give you 2 weeks free. And just to be fully transparent, I've only spent my own money on all the gear that I will be recommending. I have not been sent or sponsored by any of these brands or products. My third purchase would definitely be a good pair of earphones. I have abnormally large ear holes, so most earphones just fall right out. I love my Shokz bone conducting earphones. They loop around and sit on my ears, plus I love that I can hear my surroundings. I also adore my vest. It's an essential for me on long runs. I've tried the belts and the handhelds and they're just not for me. I love that it carries all my fuel on my phone so I don't have to like shove it in my bra or worry about having pockets. However, I do like belts for race day for holding my phone and my gels since I don't have to worry about carrying my own water. I also love my running socks. My feet are so happy. My favorite brand for running clothing / athletic clothing in general would probably be Lululemon. Just great quality. It's not cheap, but I'm a big believer in buy cheap, buy twice. Here are some of my favorite Lululemon pieces that I wear almost every day, and I'll link them below too. But you definitely don't need a closet full of workout sets in every single color. A couple of old t-shirts and sports bras and a few good quality comfortable pieces will do. And then sunglasses and sunscreen. My running sunglasses were actually stolen, so I don't trust myself enough to buy another pair. And I'm still trying to figure out my own winter cold running gear, so I don't feel qualified enough to give my recommendations for that. So running can totally be an affordable hobby, but as you keep running more and more, it can sneakily add up. The average runner actually spends between $900 and $1,100 on gear, apparel, and accessories every single year. So something that I wish I knew when I was just starting out and needed to buy a little bit of gear was Klarna's Pay in 4 feature, which essentially splits larger costs into 4 manageable interest-free payments, so you don't have to pay everything up front, and instead your payments will be collected every 2 weeks. Something else that's actually helped me save quite a bit of money is when you use the search function in the Klarna app or on their website, you can actually compare the price of the product you're searching for across thousands of retailers to make sure that you're getting the best price. Because I swear, nothing sucks more than after buying something at full price and going into another store and realizing it's like 40% off. Klarna compares prices on over 4.8 million products from almost 5,000 different stores, so you don't have to go through the hassle of looking through every store to get the best deal. Plus, when you shop in the Klarna app, you can get up to 10% cash back. All you have to do is activate your free Klarna balance account, and cash back will be deposited directly into it. I used Klarna to buy all my winter running gear last year, my coat, gloves, ear warmers, thermal socks, and leggings, so instead of paying it all at once, I was able to pay it off across 4 different payments over 2 months. And plus, I got some cash back that I used towards buying my race day shoes for the London Marathon. So if you want to see how Klarna works for yourself, you can look for the pink Klarna logo at checkout, or just download the Klarna app and try it yourself. But honestly, other than a good quality shoe, you don't have to overthink your gear. The reasons I love running have nothing to do with my shorts or vest or gels. Unpopular opinion, but I don't use Strava and I don't plan on ever using Strava. I just don't want to like compare my runs or have anyone else compare their runs or paces or distances to mine. I know it doesn't have to be that deep, but keeping the numbers to myself has really helped me maintain a healthy relationship with running. Running influencers' easy runs are like faster than my speed runs, but it's okay. Like, you're not running anyone else's run and you're not in anyone else's shoes. I remember there was a day that I ran the furthest I'd ever run. It was like 22 kilometers or something. And I was so proud of myself. Like, that was a huge accomplishment for me. Then I saw on Instagram later that day that someone had posted,
just ran a casual 26 kilometers
at a pace that I could never even imagine myself running. And even though I knew it didn't make sense for me to compare myself to them, it still made my win feel smaller. But a runner is not defined by how fast they run a mile. You're still a runner if you walk during your runs, if you skip a run, if you stop in the middle of a run, if you run slower than other people. You're still a runner even if you haven't run a half or full marathon. Strength and fitness comes in every shape, size, distance, and pace. Like, true strength really just means refusing to give up. Plus, it's okay to just do something because you enjoy it, even if I'm not great at it. Slow motion is better than no motion. In the beginning, I was napping for like 5 hours a day. I felt so drained and lethargic and nauseous, and I thought that was normal because I was running more. No. I was running in 32 degrees Celsius, 90% humidity weather with no water or electrolytes. Not cheap, but definitely worth it to me, especially if you're running in the summer or if you're a salty sweater. After I started taking electrolytes and properly fueling my runs, I've never felt that way again. Hydration is our friend. In these 365 days, I've not gotten a running injury. But I do a lot more to try and prevent them now. I never increase weekly mileage more than 10%. I do injury prevention focused strength training 2 to 3 times a week. I fuel for and on my long runs. I make sure to eat enough protein. I have fixed my running form. I make sure to run my easy runs easy. And I do a deload week every 3 weeks. And I make sure that I'm not always training for something. And I get a lot of sleep. I feel like getting enough sleep is so underrated. I was that person who thought like being sleep deprived was something to be proud of. Like, look how hard I work. I'm so mean to my body. I only sleep 2.5 hours a night. Now I'm in bed by 9 and sleep at least 8 hours a day. You don't need a crazy shoe rotation, but even just having like 2 shoes you rotate between can reduce your chances of getting injured. It allows your muscles and joints to adapt to different stress patterns and allows the foam in the shoe to recover to properly support and cushion your feet. It also helps your shoes last longer. I started with 1 pair for all my runs and I had some weird feet and calf pain. Now I have 3 shoes that I rotate, 1 for speed runs, 1 for easy runs, and 1 for long runs, and I haven't had any pain since. Something else that helps with soreness and tightness is doing a proper warm-up. There are a ton on Google and YouTube. Cooldowns are important too. I like to end every run with a 10-minute walk and incorporate some moves here and there to stretch out my hamstrings, quads, and calves. Since I've started running, I've actually had more rest days. When I was only strength training, I never felt like I really needed a complete rest day. I don't know, I think my body was just so used to it. But now, since I want to run longer and faster and I'm really pushing my body, I take 1 to 2 days every week where I just don't run at all so I can let my body recover and I can show up even stronger on my next run. A lot of people like to say that running is just putting 1 foot in front of the other, and I have to kind of respectfully disagree, because if I just 1-footed in front of the other, I would probably be injured. I'd be running with bad form and I'd be running way too fast and I'd be dehydrated and not fueling properly. I think it's really important to like read running articles and listen to running podcasts and follow some run coaches on social media to learn more about running and fueling and nutrition and cross training and injury prevention. I personally really like to listen to running podcasts while I'm running, so I'm like simultaneously becoming a better runner mentally and physically. Here are a couple of my favorites. Not gonna lie to you, training for a marathon will consume your energy and time and life. Planning the runs, running the runs, eating, sleeping, stretching, strength training. But for me, running was like the perfect hobby. As an introvert with no social life and a slight phone addiction, it's just a better way to spend my free time than watching Modern Family for the 10th time or doom scrolling on my phone. It has significantly reduced my screen time, makes me want to spend more time outside in nature, and it's improved my mental and physical health. And I feel like it really has given my life more direction and meaning. So yes, it does take up quite a bit of time, but I feel like it's time really well spent. During my first couple of runs, the only high or joy or happiness I felt was when I stopped running. I literally have a smile on my face when I run now. I definitely look crazy out there. But just like how not all your runs are supposed to feel hard, it's not supposed to feel fun and wonderful and free all the time. It's not always supposed to feel easy, especially not in the beginning. Sometimes our legs are extra heavy or our bed is extra comfy and it's feeling extra hard for no reason, and our brains will tell us to stop or skip it. I like running because it's hard. That's why it's so rewarding. So how do you keep going when it's hard? I personally like blasting music, or like running to an object in the distance, or following a random stranger and trying to keep up with them and like repeating those phrases in my head. You can do it. You got it. You've been here before. You'll feel so good after. But your body is capable of more than you think it is. So many times my mind has begged me to stop and told me I couldn't keep going, only for me to run 8 more kilometers. And the hard runs do become less hard the more you do them. Sometimes going easy on yourself, skipping a run, and staying in bed is the kind of self-care you need, but other times showing up is. I like to tell myself, you're just gonna do 10 minutes and you can go as slow as you want. And after, if you still wanna quit, you can. And I usually never end up quitting because oftentimes starting is the hardest part. And those runs are usually the runs I'm most proud of myself afterwards. I also use food to motivate myself. I'll tell myself like after we run, we'll eat something really yummy. And it's not running to earn food. It's more like celebrating that we run with some yummy food. And creating my little like running videos makes long runs feel like a little game, and it helps me mentally break up the run because every 2 kilometers I'll like pull out my phone. It's actually just really fun. I'd recommend trying to make training and running just as fun as you possibly can. Find some really good playlists and podcasts and audiobooks to listen to. Make a running vlog, run to get some coffee and pastries. Some people say having a running buddy or joining a run club helps them. Unfortunately, can't relate as an introvert who hates people, but I've heard it's fun. Because I feel like if it's fun and we actually try to enjoy the process, it's what will keep us running in the long run. And remember that like we get to run. We don't have to run. No one is forcing you to run. There are people who would give anything to have a body that can do what your body does. Some people don't have the health or the time or the strength or the circumstances or the safe neighborhood to run in. So I try to never complain about running. Sometimes, yes, it's hard to get myself out of the door, but it's always a privilege. Something I try to remind myself to do is to run the run that I'm currently running. For example, in the summer, it's hot and humid and there are dead bugs all over my face. And all I want is for it to be colder. And then when it's winter, I'm wearing 5 layers and my eyebrows are frozen and I'm running through slush. Or like the other day, it was too icy on the road, so I had to run on the treadmill, and I'm like, all I want right now is to run outside with dead bugs on my face. I wish I was faster. I wish I was fitter. I wish I was younger. I wish it was warmer. I feel like we're really good at forgetting that we're already living a life that past us wished we'd be living. You're missing all the things you do have. You're missing the run you are running. You're missing the journey. And that's all we have. That's like the whole point. You know, it's not about the PBs and the medals and the number of miles or kudos on Strava. It's the runs you're proud of and the moments you didn't quit and the beautiful weather. And it's the smiles and waves from strangers running by. Don't miss all of that just because you're too busy wishing you were running another run. And I want to warn you, because running doesn't just become part of your life. Running changes every other part of your life too. I feel like almost a completely different person from how I show up in life, how I view food and fitness, how I want to spend my time, how I view setbacks, and how I take care of myself. My life also low-key revolves around running now, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Running has really taught me patience because you can't rush running progress. There's no shortcut or 1-week program. You have to just show up day after day. And it's shown me that faster isn't the same as better. You could rush it and overtrain, but you'd probably get injured. So it's taught me the importance of slowing down and pacing ourselves and just trusting the process. I've always told myself that I could never be a runner. I could never run a half marathon. I could never run a full marathon. I just wasn't as good as all those other people. But run after run, I just like trampled over all of those self-doubts I had about myself. Now I probably think I'm a little too invincible, and running definitely hasn't fixed all my problems, but it's taught me how to face them. And it's given me the confidence to believe that I can, one step at a time. This sounds really weird, but I think running just gave me like a lot of hope. It changed my life so quickly out of nowhere. I never saw it coming. Most of the time I'll meet new people or try new things and they don't really stick around. But there will be those rare instances where you will make a decision and not only will it stick, but it will change your life. I'm so excited for you because starting your running journey or training for your first half or full marathon is honestly the most rewarding and challenging and life-changing experience. It's a lot of sweat and hard work, but it's also like a lot of fun. Don't take yourselves or your runs too seriously and treat yourself to like numerous baked goods, and enjoy the process of finding your favorite running gels and shoes and outfits, and run in new places, run with some new people if you want. And remember to slow down enough to notice how far you've run. I know I just overloaded you with like way too much information. Trust me, I know how overwhelming that feels. You're not supposed to know everything right now. You'll learn what does and what doesn't work for you. Honestly, forget everything I just said. Put on your shoes, put in your earphones, put one foot in front of the other, just not too quickly, and just see where the run takes you.